And with that, I'm going to hand it over to my colleague, Peter Ujicic, who's going to talk about those digital high-touch moments.
Hi, Steph. Thank you so much for the intro, and thank you to Steph and Louise. I can't wait to take a tour of the Flying Eye Hospital when I am able to. So, Louise, I'm going to be emailing you about that. In this segment, I'm going to be talking about leaning into high-touch moments, as Tom alluded to previously. You know, before the world turned upside down, high touch usually meant being in a place where you could actually touch another person. You could shake their hands or hug them when appropriate. You know, the live in-person event is really a great place to create lasting memories with our community, or even to ask our donors to dig a little deeper to support our mission. In the current environment, it can really feel crippling to not be able to engage with one another one-on-one. So for a lot of us, as we've been talking about today, we're trying to fill that void digitally, that void that's been created by empty venues and canceled events. I was on a client call earlier this week with Jordan, who you heard from earlier in the program, and she had a quote that really stuck with me. She said, "People's hearts are broken open right now, and they're looking for meaningful connections." I love the way she put that. So what do we do? How do we create those meaningful connections in the time of social distancing? Well, this event is one of the ways that we're trying to do that at Situation. We are, to go back to Gabrielle's question earlier about platforms, we are looking at every single platform that's being used, as I'm sure a lot of you are, and figuring out what works best. We don't start with the platform at Situation. We kind of start with the needs of the event, and then we put together the right set of platforms that we think are going to make that event, knock that event out of the park. You know, we're also looking at other technologies that are inherently intimate, like podcasting and SMS messaging. You know, last night I attended BAM's virtual dance party after their virtual gala, and I didn't realize until I was in it. They did it on Zoom, and I didn't realize until I was there how much I really needed it. It felt great. I turned on my disco lights and just danced along with about a few hundred other people. It was really fun. And so now I would like to lean into and bring in my guest for this segment. And this is someone who we really think is doing an amazing job with leaning into high touch moments. Please welcome Megan Cantrell. Megan is the Associate Director of Digital for Share Our Strengths No Kid Hungry campaign. Hi, Megan.
Hi, Peter. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for being here. When we were thinking about who we would want to talk about this segment, your name was top of the list. So we're so glad that you said yes. So thank you for that. Before we get into why we think you're really slaying it at high touch moments, can you tell us a little bit about what this moment has been like for No Kid Hungry?
Yes, as with, I imagine, all nonprofits, we were in the middle of a campaign. Ours was called Powered by Breakfast, to showcase the power that breakfast in the classroom has for kids who need that food to get through the day. This included us quickly pausing, then canceling in-person events that were very hands-on, like a giant bowl of cereal kids could jump into, and then pivot quickly to understanding how this crisis is affecting the communities that we serve.
Oh my God. When the giant bowl of cereal comes back, you have to tell me, because my nephew would line up to do that like 7 times in a row if you let people do it that many times. And that you know, the ability to pivot and switch quickly, I think, is something that we're all dealing with. You talked about schools and about how many kids get meals from their schools. I imagine with school closures, that's been a huge impact on you guys.
Yes, it has. There's 22 million kids who depend on school meals. So when schools began to start closing, and then it was closed nationwide, those 2 meals, breakfast and lunch, were gone. They disappeared. So in the first few weeks, we focused our attention in providing grants. We created a grant portal, and then systematically and as quickly as possible evaluated and sent out millions of dollars worth of grants to communities in need. We then also built out grant maps and collected these stories from those on the front lines so that we can show our donors how we're putting their dollars to work.
That's amazing. What does your day-to-day for your team look like right now? What are they spending their time doing?
Yeah, a lot. The response from the public has been, for the most part, very, very, very overwhelming with their support. in the first 8 weeks of this, we were continuing to break records. I think, Louise had mentioned the same thing from Orbis. We've had tens of thousands of new donors. We were reaching hundreds of millions of new people on social and adding close to 100,000 new folks on our email list. And our team was really busy, remains pretty busy, and tired because of how we prioritize our culture of gratitude.
It's normally great to celebrate breaking records, so congratulations on that. You just mentioned your culture of gratitude, which is one of the things that I think is so cool about No Kid Hungry. For our audience members who might not be familiar with that is, can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we are of the mindset that everyone deserves our thanks. That means those who have donated, our followers, people who've retweeted us, shared our cause with their communities, and of course, those on the front lines ensuring our kids get the food that they need. And how we do that with our emails, with cultivation, posting stories on our website, but also we really take that to heart with some of our community management pillars. We really want to show up and be authentic with everyone. It is really easy to just like something and move on, especially now when we're inundated with a lot of comments and people discovering us for the first time or having questions or, posting about us and tagging us every which way. But we have to continue to remind our colleagues, like, okay, take a breath. It's really important to take that time for every engagement, to let our communities know that we hear them, even if we don't agree with what they're saying, and that there's a moment for a conversation, hopefully. And then as any community manager, a good day for a community manager is when we are able to change hearts and minds.
So your culture of gratitude, kind of in the core of what you're doing, is to not just acknowledge your audience, but to actually engage with them. And you're combining that with breaking records of the number of people that are coming to you. How's that working out for you?
It's been a learning process, but we've been growing. So in the first few weeks, it was just myself and the social team working to divide and conquer and do the best we could. We honestly had no idea how long this would last. And as the days and weeks went on, we then transitioned to training a few colleagues that had a couple hours here and there to support us during the 9 to 5. And then to ensure that our team could get the rest that they needed, we were so grateful to partner with Situation to support our night and weekend shifts. Situation's values and mission and empathy and experience have been a really saving grace for our team.
Well, thank you for that. We were just thrilled to be asked to partner with you and your amazing digital team. As you said, our values align. If our team's been able to do anything to help your team catch a breath and sleep and have a weekend, we're thrilled to be able to do it. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Can you talk about some of the ways that you're planning to expand the culture of gratitude? What do you guys have coming up?
Yeah, so in early April, we had a Twitter storm where we spent an hour. We were reaching out to all of the frontline workers, the bus drivers who are going around dropping off meals at people's homes. Even for my brother and nephew, they were walking around their neighborhood, and a school bus driver pulled over, opened up the door, leaned out, and said, "Hey, do you need a meal today?" And they're fortunate not to, but it just shows how communities are responding. And so we really wanted to show some love for that, the frontline workers. And we had this really successful, heartwarming moment on Twitter in early April that we then heard some overwhelming responses from those programmatic partners. And they said that it really gave them the motivation they needed. And we wanted to continue to provide them that. So we pivoted to having these lighter touch moments throughout April and May, and we're actually excited to be partnering with a Situation again on in a few weeks, coming up with a big Thank a Hunger Hero Day, where we're working to thank as many people as possible, upwards of 10,000 folks on social that have really helped shine a light on ending childhood hunger. And we hope to accomplish that in a few weeks.
Well, I'm just so really touched by that. Not only do you thank everybody that comes and reaches out to you, but you're looking for people to proactively thank as if you don't have enough on your plate. So Megan, that's so awesome. Obviously we're going to do everything that we possibly can to help make that a huge success. And it doesn't look like we have any questions from the live stream audience. So I guess I just want to thank you so much for taking the time today. And again, knowing how busy you are, really appreciate you joining the event.
Thank you.